Throughout his tenure, he held various roles in operation, maintenance, machinery, logistics, projects, health, safety, and environmental protection, human resources, and the division of business ethic internal controls. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming once again. Please give your round of applause for Dr. Waluya. The stage is yours.
Terima kasih, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, selamat siang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We go through the 6 sessions, achieving sustainable development goal through governance and innovations. The speaker for this afternoon, Professor Peter Verheesen. So let me read about his short CV. Actually, it's long, but because of limited time, so just Professor Peter Verheesen is a governance expert, academic, and strategic advisors with deep experience in sustainability, corporate ethics, and board leadership. He is a professor at University of Antwerp and Antwerp Management School and a visiting scholar at the University of Melbourne. He also served as senior consultant for the IFC World Bank, focusing on corporate governance across the Asia-Pacific regions. Peter has advised governments, board, and financial institutions, including during Indonesia's banking crisis, and co-founded several ventures in consulting and tech. He holds degrees in economic philosophy, PhD, and an MBA from Leuven and Chicago, based between Belgium and Bali, hobby, based between Belgium and Bali. He regularly contributes to thought leadership and ESG, strategic and responsible business. Ladies and gentlemen, just like Bapak Komisioner BNSP, we have to speak in English, but actually Mas Peter can speak Indonesian very well. Even bahasa kromo Inggil. Monggo Mas Peter, silahkan. Okay, so you have 15 minutes for your time.
Terima kasih banyak. All right, thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak, Pak. And also I'd like to thank Pak Antonius for having me here on this today seminar on GRC. I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about this morning. To be honest, I changed even the presentation. Please. While I heard some wonderful speakers this morning. And so I want to talk a little bit about personal experience I had in this wonderful country. Indonesia has become my second home. Acknowledging Melbourne, Australia as my third or second, it depends a bit, but I guess Indonesia it has become my second home country. Next, please. I can use myself. Wonderful. All right, so what I want to do is I would like to thank a number of people, because who we are depends quite a bit in what kind of family we're born, in what kind of culture we are educated. And I guess for each of you, as well as for myself, I was very privileged to have a couple of mentors in the world, particularly also in Indonesia. I was also privileged to be able to study and to learn from many, many people. And so I just want to acknowledge 2, 3 people here that were mentioned today. One of them is Pa Eri Riana Harchapamikas, who I wrote a book with. The third one there is corporate governance relevant. He taught me to think about not the negative parts of any society. We are not perfect. A society is not perfect. So instead of focusing on the negative parts, he taught to Peter, he said, you think about the positive parts of Indonesia and why Indonesia would be a wonderful place for international investors to come to. And that's the reason why we wrote that second book. I also like to acknowledge Patan Riapeng, who is a dear friend of mine, passed away. We wrote the boardroom, and as the word it says, the boardroom represents, for me and when I learned from Patanri, the foundation of GRC. Without good governance and without a good institution, it's going to be hard to materialize all those wonderful ideas we may have. And I guess, as was mentioned yesterday, I had a chance to explain this, so I won't repeat myself. Indeed, GRC, particularly governance, is nothing but the architecture of a good house. If we think about earthquakes, the Japanese have mastered not only good governance, but architecturally speaking, when there is an earthquake, their buildings do not fall down. And they've learned that the hard way. And I think that's what corporations, what governments need to learn wherever we are, not just Indonesia. Without a good structure, the house will fall down. So that's the basis. And that was mentioned this morning by Johanna, by Firman as well. So I think it's correct. And so just briefly, we all have heard of that, so I don't have to repeat it. It's about the planet. We should be respectful. Without the planet, we wouldn't survive. We are stewards. We are here for a few years. Who are we to destroy what has been given to us? I think that is not the right way to live. And so obviously, the ecological challenges that we have is something that which we really should acknowledge. Dependent, we should be grateful to our parents, to our culture, to our mentors. So people is what makes us. And of course, there is nothing wrong with prosperity. Nothing wrong with creating wealth, creating value, which is the purpose of a business. I was fortunate to work with colleagues at the University of Melbourne, and one of the things that we try to do is to think about how you measure that. Now, there are many tools, so I won't bother you too much with that. But one of the things that one of my colleagues, Professor Danny Sampson, who is an operational professor, was doing was thinking about how we measure this kind of ESG and how can we diagnose where we stand today and where we want to go. The difference between the usual ESG measurements is that we added leadership and the results. The first part, and at the end, ESG results. And it's about that leadership that I want to talk. I'm not going to repeat what we have heard yesterday and today about the figures and the need of good governance and all that. What I want to talk is about, can we trust the leaders? And so my task is to provoke you a little bit, and that's what I'm about to do. The leaders, they have to comply, obviously. That's the first step. A second step is really to operate in an efficient manner. You have a mandate, you have the fiduciary duty of care, loyalty, and prudence to optimize the opportunities which is creating value that leads to profit, and to minimize the threat. And the only way you can do that is if you do that in an efficient manner. That's the second stage. However, as I have tried to argue yesterday, like the stock market works, you're rated based on how you exploit your current assets today, how you optimize what you have as an organization. But secondly, you cannot stop there. You really need to think about that future, exploring new opportunities. And as we heard this morning from government officials, from business people, it's about opportunities that should be aligned with ecological, social, ethical, economical, sustainable goals. And so innovation is going to be obviously a driving force. As mentioned yesterday, AI is part of that. As a business person, taking a corporate perspective, and I want to be clear about that, it's about bringing in the GRC and the ESG into your strategy. You cannot blame a business corporation for being just philanthropic. You cannot expect that. Corporations have, as I said, goals, but also have responsibilities. The difference between today and 10 years ago is that it is not just about return on invested capital, it's also today that we should not harm, we corporations, we should not harm social environment. And therefore, that's where ESG indeed comes in. This is basically the results, and now let me just brief you. McKinsey made it clear yesterday, and sorry for those who've heard me yesterday, but I just want to re-emphasize. A corporation that is just being an idealist without a growth strategy, as you can see here, may even get behind their competitors. And long term, that is economically not sustainable. If economically it's not sustainable, they may not survive. They're going to be absorbed, they're going to be sold, they're going to be merged, or they're going to be bankrupt. So the idea for a corporation, as Pa Firman mentioned this morning quite clearly, is that any corporation that wants to be sustainable, ecologically, social, needs to be sustainable economically. Without economical sustainability, there is no corporation. That's what corporations do. But that brings me then obviously, well, to an example before I get into the leadership issue. And I quoted here, Pa Firman, disclosure drives action. That triggered me. Because indeed, the more you measure, the more you become aware of it. But measurement is just the first step. It's not the end point. But this example of Puma, I just put that up because Puma is produced here in Indonesia as well. What you do see is that the chief sourcing officer, she's not talking about just ESG, but she says it very clearly. She wants to move beyond ESG marketing. It's one thing to report. It's another to live it, to mean what you say, to walk your talk. And I think Puma was one of the first corporations that had one of the most extensive ESG reports, but also try to communicate that with their customers, the stakeholders, and really trying to establish collaboration. And I think that's a crucial word, collaboration. No corporation can do it by itself. We need each other. We need regulators. We need government. We need customers, because without customers, there is no corporation. We need suppliers. We need employees who believe in us, who are willing to stay with us. And so it's that collaboration with those stakeholders that for me is is crucial. As said yesterday, and let me repeat this, we don't know the future. And one of the things that I ask myself as a philosopher then is, who are we? Why are we on this planet? What are we doing? What is the future bringing to us? And as these beautiful singers in the group emphasizing harmony just during the break or after the break were saying or singing, imagining the dreams, the million dreams to make a different world. It's something that only humans can do. And that's something that is not maybe existing, but that's something we may like to aspire for. And I think that is what leaders' functions are. A leader is somebody that is not just a smart man or a smart woman who knows to manage an organization, has the competency to fix things, a plumber. But a leader is also a visionary, a poet. Why a poet? Because a poet is the person that looks at something which is not visible yet, that creates something, or willing to create something. And you need both. You need the competent plumber who knows to fix things, but you need also somebody that inspires other people, other stakeholders, can connect, can collaborate, has the emotional intelligence, the social intelligence. And so the future is indeed digital. We know that. And just give you some examples. It's amazing how fast TikTok got the first 100 million users, 9 months. But look at ChatGPT. It took them 2 months to reach 100 million users. Obviously, that is changing the way we think, the way we look at the world. Yes, the future is indeed digital. There's no doubt. We have established that. And you can ask why we have AI, again, repetitive a little bit, but the point is there, the major reason why we want AI is to increase efficiency. And to me, and that's a very personal opinion, AI remains within the plumbing, within the smart, intelligent way of improving organizations, to do it faster, to do it more effective and efficient. So that's definitely why we should embrace it. It can reduce cost. It can reduce waste. It will probably increase agility. It will definitely personalize customer experience. And we can give many, many examples. It will drive digital transformation, and it is probably one of the most fundamental innovations of the last 20 years. So yes, it's part of this digitization.
Please wrap up, professors.
Oh, is all right? These are the industries that we see where AI is used quite a bit. And what I want to do is then very briefly is looking at this. Smart people are people that use these corporate foundations properly, looking at increasing predictability and reducing biases. That's where AI can help. It also needs to be, he or she needs to be innovative in the organization and the resilience. So that's basically what we have learned in business schools, universities, and so on and so forth. The difference between smart and wise decision-making is this, and that's the new slide I put in. Apparently, if you think in a moral manner, other parts of your brains are used compared to biasa-biasa, meaning the easy way of thinking. Moral thinking requires mindfulness, awareness. It is not easy. It is hard. That's what I try to describe, that importance of being conscious about why are we here, who are we as an individual and as an organization. And so let me just say two more things and then I'll wrap it up. Basically, the way I look at wisdom and wise decision making is broadening the vector of time, not just short term, but longer term, because it's our responsibility, and broadening the vector of space, which is from not just shareholders, the duty to your shareholders, which is the American way that I learned at Harvard and at Chicago, but it is about stakeholders, the ones that I've referred to earlier. So let me just finish with saying this, two things. Accountability is, for me, what GRC is about. You're accountable for the action you take as an individual, as a manager, as a leader. Second, when you want to be a champion, you need to excel, and that will require deliberate, conscious efforts, what I call moral thinking. And the last 3 points is this, and that's where the challenge is. There are 3 transformations I see. The one that I explained yesterday was you transform yourself from a competent plumber to a smart decision making, taking into account algorithmic thinking and intuitional thinking. That is crucial, and we can always improve, but that's necessary but not sufficient. Competency, smartness, you need now wisdom. That's a second transformation, and that's to do with the heart. So you have the mind, smart, you have the heart, which is your wisdom, which has to do with values. But now there's a third, and that's my last thing. You have the third transformation, which is quite controversial. We not just have a heart and a mind, we also have a soul, a spirit. And that is the connector with that invisible world. And that is the possible answer to answering who are we and who are we in an organization. And if you can align your inner voice, who you are as a soul, as a spirit, with the heart and with the mind, I think then there's a future, like they were saying, where we have a lot of dreams that we may realize. It's not good to have just dreams. We should have dreams to realize them. And that's what I hope from this public, because you are the leaders and future leaders. And so if you're aware of this, please connect yourself with your soul and your spirit, all what we have learned in any culture. Thank you so much.
Okay, a very valuable insight, professors. Gentlemen and ladies, because time up, so there is no question answer sessions. And again, thank you very much. Let's give a big applause for Professor Peters. Yeah. So thank you very much. And I give it back to MC.
Thank you once again. Please give the biggest round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And please remain on the stage to our moderator speakers as we're about to have token of appreciation. And now I would like to invite Mr. Charles Airforce to join us on the stage as the chairman of IRMAPA to give a token of appreciation for both speakers and hosts in this station, Dr. Waluyo and also Prof. Peter Verhazen. The stage is yours. Okay, the first one, Mr. Charles will give a token of appreciation to our speakers. Prof. Peter, give your round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Prof. Peter, for your amazing presentation. And the next one, a token of appreciation for our host, Dr. Waluyo. Your round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Mr. Peter, please move to the center of the stage as we are about to have a photo session. Let's capture this special moment. Please be ready on my count in 3, 2, 1, and smile. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Please give your round of applause to our speakers and also our hosts. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles, Mr. Prof. Peter, and also Dr. Waluyo for this very insightful session. And before we move to the next station, ladies and gentlemen, let me to inform to all of you that we kindly invite all participants to complete the feedback form in the GRC apps. So please take a moment to complete the feedback form that you can fill from the GRC apps. And we need to inform to you that the certificate will be delivered through the apps within 7 working days after the administrative process and the feedback form has been submitted. Once again, the certificate will be delivered through the apps within 7 working days after the administrative